Welcome back, and delight to have here with us this segment, Paulina and
Hi.
Steve.
Yeah, hi. It seems like we were just here.
Well, yeah, you live here. Anyway, just a little bit of a panel discussion here today as we move into some final times. You know, what's interesting to me, I just
Final
got back.
times?
Well,
That sounds
final times
awfully-
of the election.
Wow.
Well, you know, it could be
okay.
final times.
Yeah,
you know, the
you're
world's
right.
crazy.
Perry Atkinson announced on the
No,
Dove. We're
I
moving
didn't
into
say
final
I
that.
think
times.
we've got a new show, Perry and the Final Time.
Is that
It's a
it?
band.
That's it.
That's a that's
Yeah,
a band.
It is.
yeah, that would be a tough show to do. But I will say this: when I was in my meetings in Australia and meeting with my colleagues from around the world, they are saddened to see America upside down in their book. They
Is it
don't
because
understand
of-
Trump.
Okay.
They've had enough of Hillary, and I don't know where they are politically. I mean, most of these guys that I sit on this panel with are from Commonwealth countries. So a form of socialism is a part of their life.
Yeah.
They don't understand the Second Amendment. They don't get that whole thing. They don't understand freedom of speech because they are limited in some of the things that they can say.
And isn't that strange? Because really, when you think of it, we took a form of the English government and brought it over
Yeah.
and incorporated it in the United States, and they're the ones who have moved farther away, I think.
Well, they have, and they've allowed themselves to kind of go down the slippery slope, and now they wish they hadn't. They're dealing with Sharia law and things like that. But they're looking at America right now. They're going, you know what? We want America to be great. We want America to still be the Christian beacon in the world. We want America to be strong. But what are you guys doing over there? And I thought, you know, what an opportunity for the church to really be praying for the country at this time. You know, we got the National Day of Prayer
Yeah.
coming up. But look, I said earlier today on the news, I think it boils down to three things. All this stuff you're hearing in the news, you're either going to vote for Trump, you're going to vote for Cruz, or you're going to vote for Hillary. That's it.
Yeah.
And I think we know at this point what all three represent, kind of, sort of. So,
For the most part, yeah.
so where are you going?
Where are you going?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
No.
that it's a phenomenon to me because they're talking about broker conventions and all of these things. And I am surprised of how angry Christians are getting over this election. And for what reason?
Well, because people are upset and the country is upside down. But I think, you know, if we are on the right side, and we have Cruz and Trump, both of them are wonderful candidates, a lot better than what's on the other side. And if you look at all the other candidates we had there, I mean, really, I don't think we had a bad Republican candidate. You probably didn't like some of them personally, but if any one of them became a president, it would be better than what we have now. So we're not in that bad of a situation as we like to say.
I don't think we are either.
I think
you know.
either way, if we all rally behind the nominee, whoever that is, and looks like it's going to be Trump right now,
I don't know. Your thoughts?
it's going to be better.
You know, what I think, and I don't know why Hillary went down this path, but you might recall about a week ago, she was saying, I don't know why the Republicans are saying everything is bad. You know, America is right on track and good. And I thought, I don't even think her constituents agree with that. I think that, you know, you'll find there is, the nation is having problems with the populace agreeing that we're on the right path. It doesn't mean they're all agreed on what that path should be. Because I think some will say, well, we need to be on this path over here, and others will say, no, it needs to be the opposite path. But I think it's kind of interesting that she tried to say, hey, everything is working out well, and we just need to improve on it more. I don't know that anybody has that view, and I think that's why we've got this polarization going. And I think it's an interesting way in which Christians will come to conclusions as to who they're going to support based on their own criteria. And they're as extremely different as we find non-Christians.
I think the biggest danger in this election is that whether your candidate becomes the nominee or not, is that Christians won't vote again. This could be a, well, I think it is. If we don't vote this go around, we may be forfeiting our right to vote for a long time to come. I mean, if they're thinking about doing a broker convention on the Republican side and thwart the will of the people that was expressed through all the primaries in the states, and let just a handful of people on the floor of the convention select the nominee, it's going to create a pushback unlike we've ever seen before. And what that will do is polarize people even more, and groups of people will stay home and won't vote. And I think Christians will fall into that trap. whether you like Trump or don't like Trump, whether you like Cruz or don't like Cruz. At the end of the day, do you want a vowed socialist or one who's not calling herself a socialist, but her policies certainly are, to run this country and to go forward? I mean, I think that's what we're dealing with. So there's a real obligation to pray here. And the other observation I had, I was flying, I don't know what leg it was, and I was reading a newspaper that somebody left on the seat. I was reading through this, and it dawned on me, I thought, you know what? Had all of the other Republican candidates that were in the race at the beginning, was there 17 of them?
17, yeah.
If they just wouldn't have attacked Trump. In other words, or each other, let me put it that way. If they just wouldn't have gone after each other, which is always the trap they fall into. This guy's a bad guy and this gal's a bad person. I mean, when they go down that road, nothing happened. If they just would have stayed on policy and what their vision was for America, would this race today be different?
Probably different, obviously different. But as far as attitudes and the way we act, I think when you say that Christians it's an opportunity for church to pray, I also think it's an opportunity for church and the Christians to act. Because even within the Republican side of the election, and we see a lot of people coming from the other side, from the Democratic side, from the independent side here, and a lot of people say, you support Cruz and Steve supports Rubio. Well, now that Rubio is out, bad example, sorry, I'm going to go to another one. People start criticizing each other and getting really nasty and ugly with each other for supporting the wrong candidate. A lot of people supported Ben Carson, thought he was the brilliant man, a great guy, the hero. And once he made a choice, a conscious choice, he's still the same person. But once he chose Donald Trump and to endorse him, people start saying that he's crazy for doing that. Isn't it kind of hypocritical to do, or is it Christian to do, where we turn around and attack our own just for making a choice?
We're doing that, and I think that the world is watching it. But look, are we criticizing before we pray? Look, this is man trying to solve man's problems. This is man replacing the Word of God with the Word of man. And I think what we have in front of us here is an opportunity for the church to become desperate before God and say, God, help us. Whoever you allow to become president, may we circle that person with a hedge of prayer unlike we've ever done before. I think what happens, our guy doesn't get in or our person doesn't get in. We just abandon the process when we go back and we just write it off as end times and Jesus is coming Friday at 4 o'clock. And that's a dangerous thing to do. But it's divided families, it's divided Christians, it's divided churches. It's an amazing thing to me to see happen. So
yeah.
I don't know, but go ahead.
Well, another thing I wanted to ask you, you talked about how Trump is perceived around the world, because you met with the guys at UCB. Do you guys think, because I've heard that a lot of the times, strong leaders in other countries, like Russia, like other ones, even Netanyahu, maybe not him, but say Putin, he's not so much concerned what the world thinks about him, but he is concerned what his country thinks about him, and he's doing well. Should our president stop being concerned with what the world thinks about him and concentrate on the country? Would that be better for us? I mean, why do we always think about the world? So my question is, what do you think? Because Trump is a kind of a joke for some people around the world because they don't know him or they see him only as a TV character. So what do you think about the world perception?
I think you got to go back and see, what is Trump representing? Trump is representing the anger and the frustration that America has fueled by its political system, which in turn really has betrayed them, especially on the Republican side. We give the Republicans control of the Senate, we give them control of the House, they go there, and what do? They completely pass all the things that the president wants. So the checks and balances that we thought we were electing to be in place isn't in place. When you gave the president his budget, which included Planned Parenthood and all this other stuff, the electorate stepped back and go, wait a minute, you guys always run on promises, you get in there and nothing happens. So here comes a guy, has nothing to do with Washington, D.C. He's an extremely successful businessman. He's a billionaire. He's funding his own campaign. He speaks loud and arrogant and throws things around. And I think what he is, and I'm not pro-Trump here or anti-Trump, I'm just explaining it. he has expressed the frustration of America. People will say, I don't like him, but I like what he's doing. And that's where we are. We've never seen this before. It's uncharted waters when it comes to this right now.
And but as far as his world image, is that something we should be concerned about? Does it bother you that, Steve, do you have anything?
Well, I think President Obama, his first month in office, people started saying, wait, are you trying to be president of the world, or are you trying to be president of the United States? Because he was, at that point, going over, and you remember the bowing before some of the other leaders and all the rest.
Kind of apology tour.
So, yeah, right. In fact, that's what it was called. And that's why I say that, not by him, but by others. Yeah. I think Trump probably is saying, you know what, I'll talk to these people when I get a chance to do it, but right now, I need to tell you all what I think about the United States. So I think he's just being very transparent. You can't say that Donald Trump is not transparent. He certainly is. And were he to change immediately, were he to get in office, it could only be for strategy purposes, I would think. Yeah. Because, again, remember, Ben Carson said he's not the same guy that you see on the stump when you get behind the curtain and talk to him privately one-on-one. He's saying this is a methodical guy who thinks things out. And that's why I was thinking Vladimir Putin may be a similar person. I don't know him obviously personally, but he does have an image to the rest of the world, for the country. They love him. And I'm thinking this guy is probably a pretty sharp negotiator behind the scenes too. So I think he and Donald Trump would have a very interesting conversation that we may never ever know about, except for somebody who might be documenting it. So I think, Perry, it also gets into what you said. I don't think we've ever seen any election like this, not within the last 100 years. Some other elections have gotten pretty spicy in presidential politics back in the 1800s and all of that.
But there was no social media.
But there wasn't social media there, yeah, so we don't know about that. But this is going to, either way, the Republican Party, I think, is going to be rewritten no matter what happens in this election.
Well, let me just say to our viewers and listeners as we kind of wrap this up, don't forget, Ted Cruz is still very strongly in the race, and he could pull it off. There's enough primaries ahead where he could score big. Now, we don't know if that's going to happen. Most of it leans towards Trump at the moment, but he's still very much in the race. So it is down to Trump, Cruz, and Hillary and how you vote in the Oregon primary coming up in May, so we'll see how that is. But that's kind of what's happening. But let me just say this, folks. Please don't let politics and all of this stuff get you so ratcheted up that you lose family and friends over it. It's not worth it. Yeah. The thing that you need to do is understand, God, what are you saying? What is my role? What's my responsibility? The least of which, we need to register to vote and we need to vote. And then mark down May 5th. That's the first Thursday in May. That is the National Day of Prayer. And the Dove is sponsoring a special National Day of Prayer event. We'll be giving you more information on that. But if there's ever a time for Christians to come together and pray, it's now. So I hope we'll do that. All right, well, stick around. Coming up, you guys like to have Mickey around, don't you?
Yeah, she's fun.
Oh, she's a lot of fun. She's from the Urban Family Talk Radio, which is a division of the American Family Association. All coming up in just a few moments.
Hello, I'm Jerry Bilden with the Dove Radio and TV. We learn in God's Word that He's faithful, and we're not. That's very obvious in this political season as we see candidates that flip-flop on issues like the right to life and the sanctity of marriage. It's no wonder that more and more people are looking for a consistent message of hope, and that's what we provide every day as we shine the light on who Jesus really is and the plan that God has for you. Unfortunately, at this time, we're struggling with a shortfall in our finances that allow us to continue with this very important mission. So we're asking you to prayerfully consider a special gift or becoming a monthly financial partner with the Dove. If God leads you to stand with us to help overcome this difficulty, we simply ask you to either call us at 541-776-5368, or you can give safe and secure at theDove.us by clicking on the support button at the top of the page. We also ask you to pray for this ministry as we continue the important work that God has called us all to do. God bless you, and thank you for your prayers and your support of the Dove.
I'm Paulina Leiser, producer of Focus Today. Thank you for watching this video, and make sure to check our other videos at theDove.us.